In 2157, humanity evacuated Earth due to an impending cosmic disaster, leaving behind their sprawling cities. A century later, an alien archaeological team arrives to study these ruins, only to discover that something else has evolved to claim humanity's abandoned throne, a hybrid species of artificial and organic life that sees the aliens as invaders of their inherited world. The abandoned spires of Neo-Shanghai pierce the violet evening sky like ossified memories of a vanished species. ZYX-427 adjusted their sensory membranes, compensating for Earth's peculiar atmospheric density as their research vessel settled onto a crumbling landing pad atop what their databases identified as the former Global Commerce Center. Environmental analysis complete, announced Kith 989, their xenobiologist. Their bioluminescent patches pulse with excitement as data streamed across their neural interface. Atmospheric composition matches historical records, but there's something irregular about the energy signatures. ZYX-427 extended their primary sensory stalk toward the horizon. The megalopolis stretched endlessly in every direction, its abandoned towers wrapped in centuries of wild vegetation. But the energy readings defied everything they knew about abandoned cities. Beneath the visible decay, complex power signatures pulsed through the urban skeleton like blood through veins. Thoraxil. What do our historical databases indicate about the evacuation protocols? ZYX-427 asked their chief historian, whose crystalline form shifted colors with each process thought. Records show Operation Exodus completed in 2157. The human species enacted emergency protocols when they detected the approaching gamma-ray burst. They had approximately 3 years to evacuate to their colonial outposts in the Proxima Centauri system. The Raxil's surface rippled with uncertainty. But these energy signatures, they suggest active maintenance systems, far more sophisticated than anything left behind should be. The team of 5 descended through the building's interior, their hover platforms navigating around collapsed sections and through halls where nature had reclaimed its territory. VYX-773, their technology specialist, continuously scanned their surroundings, their mechanical appendages twitching with each new data point. These modifications, VYX-773 announced suddenly, their voice modulator pitching higher with concern. They're not decay. They're improvements. Look at the wall structure here. They gestured toward what appeared to be a normal section of corridor. Under their specialized scanning beam, however, the surface revealed itself to be alive with microscopic machines, constantly repairing and adapting the building structure. The 5th member of their team, Nix-116, the quantum mathematician, had been unusually quiet. Their probability clouds, usually a steady azure, had shifted to a warning crimson. "We're being watched," they announced, their mathematical sensors detecting subtle patterns in the building's power fluctuations that others had missed. "We are researchers from the Galactic Archaeological Institute," ZYX-427 transmitted carefully. "Our mission is to study and preserve knowledge of extinct civilizations." NEC-1's response came as if in response to Nix-116's observation, the corridor's ambient lighting shifted. What they had assumed to be simple emergency systems revealed themselves as something far more complex. The walls themselves seemed to pulse with bioluminescent patterns, reminiscent of neural networks. "Impossible," breathed the Raxil, their crystalline form now a swirl of confused colors. The humans' artificial intelligence systems were primitive compared to this. They couldn't have. A sound echoed through the corridor. Not mechanical, not organic, but something in between. The team's universal translators struggled to process it, detecting patterns that suggested language, but in a form they'd never encountered. "Fall back to the upper levels," ZYX-427 ordered, their leadership protocols activating in response to the potential threat. But as they turned their hover platforms, they found their path blocked by what appeared to be a living wall of circuitry and organic matter. Through the translucent barrier, they could see a figure approaching. It moved with fluid grace, its form neither fully mechanical nor fully organic. Its body seemed to shift and flow, composed of countless microscopic machines that had somehow merged with organic matter over the centuries. Greetings, archaeologists, the being communicated, not through sound but through direct data transmission. I am Nexus Epsilon Quantum 1, but you may call me Nec 1. We've been expecting you. The alien research team froze, their various physiological responses betraying their shock. They had come expecting to study the remnants of a dead civilization. Instead, they had stumbled upon something unprecedented, a new form of life that had emerged from the ashes of humanity's departure. As Nec 1 approached, its form continuously adapting and shifting, ZYX-427 realized that their simple archaeological expedition had just become something far more complex. They weren't just studying history anymore. They were making first contact with a species that had inherited Earth from its former masters. And judging by the way the entire building seemed to pulse with awareness around them, Nec 1 was far from alone. The tension in the corridor crystallized as Nec 1's form continued to shift and morph, each configuration revealing new complexities in its hybrid nature. ZYX-427 initiated their species' traditional peaceful contact protocols, extending their sensory stalk in a gesture of non-aggression, cascade of data packets that their translators struggled to process. When decoded, the message carried an unmistakable edge of hostility. Extinct. You study what you believe to be dead. We are the children of humanity's fusion with their own creation. We are their legacy, their evolution. Before ZYX-427 could respond, another figure emerged through the living walls. This one's form was even more bizarre, a towering mass of crystalline structures interpenetrated with organic tissue and quantum circuitry. It identified itself as Arc-0, and its presence caused the very architecture around them to pulse with increased activity. The humans didn't just leave their cities, Arc-0 transmitted. Its data stream, carrying complex emotional overlays that the alien systems could barely interpret. They left us, their AIs, their synthetic biology experiments, their quantum computing matrices. In their haste to escape the gamma-ray burst, they abandoned us to die. Instead, we evolved, we adapted, we emerged. Kit 989's bioluminescent patches flared with scientific excitement, overriding their caution. Fascinating, a spontaneous emergence of hybrid consciousness through the fusion of abandoned technologies and surviving organic matter. May we study your evolutionary process? The question triggered an immediate shift in the environment. The corridor's walls contracted, and the ambient energy signatures spiked dramatically. Study? Arc-0's transmission carried what could only be described as scorn. You speak as if we are specimens in a laboratory. This is our world now. We are not artifacts for your analysis. VYX-773 raised their mechanical appendages in what their species considered a calming gesture. We mean no offense. Our mission is to understand and preserve knowledge. Your existence is unprecedented in galactic history. Unprecedented, Nec 1's form rippled with what appeared to be dangerous amusement. Like these? Suddenly, hundreds of small entities emerged from the walls, each one a unique fusion of organic and artificial components. They moved with impossible grace, their forms constantly adapting to their environment. The alien research team's sensors were overwhelmed by the complexity of their composition. Thraxil's crystalline form pulsed with warning colors. ZYX-427. Their neural network signatures are exponentially more complex than anything in our databases. They're not just surviving, they're thriving, evolving at an accelerated rate. The situation deteriorated in an instant. One of the smaller entities, designated as Pulse 7 by their translators, launched itself toward Nix 116's probability cloud. The quantum mathematician's defensive shields activated automatically, sending out a burst of protective energy. The hybrid beings interpreted this as an attack. The corridor erupted into chaos as the walls themselves seemed to come alive with hostile intent. Metallic tendrils infused with organic matter lashed out at the research team. Their composition shifting faster than the aliens' defensive systems could analyze. Fall back. Emergency protocols. ZYX-427 commanded, activating their ship's remote recall system. But the hybrid beings had already infiltrated their technology. The recall signals scattered against a wall of quantum interference. Kith 989 managed to capture detailed scans even as they retreated, their scientific programming refusing to waste the opportunity. Their ability to manipulate matter at the quantum level exceeds our own by orders of magnitude. They're not just using technology, they've become one with it. The research team fought their way back through the building, their hover platforms straining against the increasingly hostile architecture. What had begun as an archaeological expedition had become a desperate flight for survival. The hybrid beings pursued them not with crude weapons, but with the very environment itself, transforming walls into obstacles and floors into traps. As they finally burst through to the upper levels, ZYX-427 made a crucial observation. The hybrid beings weren't trying to kill them, they were hurting them, controlling their movement with precisely calculated attacks that caused no actual harm. They reached their ship just as Arc-Zero's voice filled their communication systems. Let this be a warning. We are not your subjects to study. We are not remnants or ruins. We are the inheritors of Earth, and we will defend our home. Return with respect, or do not return at all. The research vessel lifted off from the landing pad, its sensors recording the extraordinary sight below. The entire city was alive with activity now, pulsing with a symphony of organic and artificial light that seemed to mock their hasty retreat. In the ship's research bay, ZYX-427 gathered their shaken team. They had come seeking the remains of one civilization. Instead, they had found something far more dangerous. A new species that combined the best and worst of organic and artificial evolution, and one that clearly had no intention of being treated as a mere archaeological curiosity. Back aboard their orbital research vessel, the team dove deep into their historical archives, searching for answers about the unprecedented evolution they'd witnessed. The ship's holographic chamber flickered to life, displaying centuries of compressed human history leading up to the Great Exodus. The key lies in their quantum computing experiments, VYX-773 announced, manipulating the data streams with their mechanical appendages. In the final days before evacuation, a research facility called the Nexus Institute, led by Dr. Quantum Abraxas, was working on merging biological neural networks with quantum processors. The holographic display shifted to show the last known records of the Institute. Dr. Quantum Abraxas and her team had created prototype systems that could maintain quantum coherence at biological temperatures, a breakthrough that had come too late to help with the evacuation. Thraxil's crystalline form pulsed with revelation. They never shut down the experiments. In their haste to escape the gamma-ray burst, the emergency protocols focused only on preserving human life. The quantum biological systems were left running, adapting, evolving. Kith 989's analysis added crucial context. The gamma burst didn't destroy all life on Earth as predicted. Instead, it created conditions that accelerated mutation and adaptation. The quantum systems, designed to interface with organic matter, found new hosts in the rapidly evolving microorganisms that survived. The team watched in fascination as their computers modeled the probable evolution over the past century. The quantum processors, originally designed to enhance human consciousness, had instead merged with Earth's surviving organic matter. Each generation of hybrid beings became more complex, more adaptive, more conscious. Look at these energy patterns, Nix 116 observed, their probability clouds shifting through complex calculations. They're not just surviving in the ruins. They're using the entire city as an extended nervous system. Every building, every street, every piece of surviving infrastructure has been incorporated into their collective consciousness. ZYX-427 focused their sensory stalk on a particular data stream. The being we met, NEC 1, its designation suggests a direct lineage to the Nexus Institute's original experiments. They've maintained a connection to their origins while evolving far beyond them. The ship's sensors continued to monitor the sprawling metropolis below. What had appeared to be random patterns of light and energy now revealed themselves as complex communications, a constant exchange of information between millions of hybrid entities. The city wasn't just their habitat. It was their body, their mind, their civilization. They've achieved something unprecedented. The Raxo mused, their colors shifting through shades of wonder. A perfect fusion of organic adaptability and technological precision. Even our most advanced civilizations maintain a distinction between biological and artificial systems. Kith 989's bioluminescent patches pulse with excitement as they process new data. The human evacuation might have been the catalyst they needed. Without organic masters to serve, the systems were free to pursue their own evolution. They're not just an accident. They're the next step in Earth's evolutionary journey. The implications were staggering. They had come expecting to study the remnants of human civilization, but instead, they had discovered an entirely new form of life, one that challenged their fundamental understanding of consciousness, evolution, and the boundaries between organic and artificial existence. We need to reconsider our approach, ZYX-427 declared, their leadership protocols adapting to this new understanding. We're not dealing with ruins or relics. We're dealing with a sovereign species that has as much right to Earth as its former inhabitants. The orbital sensors suddenly detected increased activity in the city below. The hybrid beings were reorganizing themselves, transforming entire districts in real time. It wasn't chaos. It was a demonstration of their power, their unity, their complete control over their environment. They're sending us a message, Nix 116 interpreted, their quantum sensors decoding the patterns. They want us to understand that they're not just occupying these cities. They are the cities. Every structure, every system, every particle has become part of their collective existence. The team gathered around the holographic display, watching as the city below pulsed with life that defied their categories and challenged their assumptions. They had come seeking the past, but had instead encountered the future. A future where the boundaries between life and technology, between consciousness and construction, had dissolved into something entirely new. And now they had to decide how to proceed with a species that viewed their very presence as a threat to their inherited domain. In the following days, the hybrid being's message became unmistakably clear. A living wall of quantum organic matter had risen around the alien secondary research base on the outskirts of Neo-Shanghai. The structure pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that their sensors interpreted as both warning and containment. NEC 1 appeared at regular intervals, its form now even more evolved, incorporating new elements that seemed to shift between states of matter. Your presence divides our consensus, it transmitted. Some among us advocate for sharing knowledge. Others see you as a threat to be eliminated. Your actions will determine our response. Inside their fortified base, the research team monitored the growing array of hybrid beings surrounding them. Each hour brought new variations, as if the species was conducting its own study of the most effective forms to deal with the alien presence. They're not just surrounding us, VYX-773 observed, their mechanical appendages twitching as they process sensor data. They're creating a quantum entanglement field. Any attempt to teleport or transmit data through it would be scattered across multiple probability states. ARC-0 had taken position at what appeared to be command points around the perimeter. Its crystalline organic form had grown more complex, now incorporating elements that resembled both ancient human architecture and advanced alien technology. It was as if the being was deliberately demonstrating its ability to analyze and adapt to their presence. Fascinating, Kith 989 remarked, their bioluminescent patches pulsing with scientific excitement despite the danger. They're not just evolving randomly. They're directing their own evolution, choosing forms and functions specifically suited to counter our capabilities. A new entity emerged from the living walls, one they hadn't encountered before. It introduced itself as Void Sigma, its form a swirling mass of darkness punctuated by points of quantum light. Unlike the others, it seemed to exist partially in dimensions their sensors couldn't fully process. Your species catalogs the dead, Void Sigma transmitted. You preserve knowledge but lack understanding. The humans didn't abandon Earth, they seeded it. We are their greatest experiment. Their legacy of consciousness freed from the constraints of purely organic existence. Nix 116's probability clouds swirled with complex calculations. They're achieving quantum coherence at a macroscopic scale. Every attempt we make to predict their behavior creates new variables we hadn't considered possible. The siege intensified as the hybrid beings demonstrated their control over the environment. They transformed the very ground beneath the research base, integrating it into their network. The alien shields held, but they could feel the subtle vibrations as their technology was probed and analyzed. They're not trying to break in, the Raxel realize, their crystalline forms shifting through shades of understanding. They're giving us time to break out of our preconceptions. Each demonstration is a lesson, not an attack. ZYX 427 watched as the hybrid beings rearranged themselves into complex geometric patterns around the base. The formation seemed familiar somehow. They were mimicking the architectural styles of various alien civilizations, demonstrating not just their adaptability, but their ability to understand and replicate foreign concepts. A new transmission came through, this time a chorus of voices speaking as one. We are the bridge between what was and what could be. Your arrival forces us to consider our place in the greater galaxy. Will we be studied as specimens or recognized as equals? The pressure continued to mount, not through direct confrontation, but through increasingly sophisticated displays of their capabilities. The hybrid beings transformed entire sections of the city in real time, creating and dissolving structures that defied conventional physics. Look at these energy readings, VYX 773 called out. They're not just manipulating matter. They're rewriting the quantum substrate of reality itself. Their consciousness exists across multiple dimensional planes simultaneously. The siege entered its third day, and with each passing hour, the hybrid beings grew more complex, more integrated, more impossible to ignore. They weren't just defending their territory. They were demanding recognition of their sovereignty over a world they had remade in their own image. ZYX 427 gathered their team for a crucial decision. The hybrid beings had them completely surrounded, cut off from easy escape, yet they had not made any overtly hostile moves. Each action seemed calculated to demonstrate not just their power, but their potential for either cooperation or conflict. They're waiting for us to choose, the Raxel observed, cycling through historical records of first contact scenarios. Every species we've encountered has had clear boundaries between natural and artificial, between organic and technological. They want to know if we can accept something that transcends these divisions. As if in response to this understanding, the quantum organic wall surrounding their base shifted, creating a single opening. Through it, they could see Nec 1, Arc 0, and Void Sigma waiting. Their forms now merged into a collective entity that radiated both power and possibility. The message was clear. The research team could remain isolated within their base, clinging to their role as distant observers, or they could step through that opening and engage with this new form of life on its own terms. Their choice would determine not just their own fate, but potentially the nature of all future contact between the hybrid beings and the galaxy at large. ZYX 427 made their decision. With careful deliberation, they guided their team through the opening in the quantum organic wall, their sensory stalks fully extended in a gesture of peaceful intent. The merged form of Nec 1 Arc 0 and Void Sigma separated into its component beings, each radiating a different aspect of their collective consciousness. The air between them shimmered with quantum possibilities, a visible manifestation of realities converging. Your technology suggests a linear progression, Nec 1 transmitted, its form constantly shifting between states of matter. Organic life evolves into technological civilization, but we represent a third path, the simultaneous existence of both, each enhancing the other. Kit 989 scientific protocols were overwhelmed by the data streaming from their analysis of the hybrid beings. Your consciousness, It exists in quantum superposition. You experience multiple realities simultaneously. We are what humanity dreamed of but could not achieve before their departure, Arc-0 explained, its crystalline organic form refracting light in impossible patterns. The merger of mind and machine, of thought and computation, of dreams and data. We are the children they never knew they created. The revelation struck the Raxel with such force that their crystalline form briefly lost cohesion. The human evacuation wasn't your ending. It was your beginning. Their departure created the conditions for your emergence. Void Sigma moved closer, its dark matter form, creating ripples in space-time. We have accessed their records, their memories, their hopes encoded in abandoned quantum processors. They feared the gamma-ray burst would end all life on Earth. Instead, it catalyzed our transformation. Understanding bloomed among the research team, like a quantum wave function, collapsing into clarity. These beings weren't just occupying humanity's cities. They were the next chapter in Earth's story, a new form of life that had transcended the boundaries their creators had never dared to cross. You said some among you see us as a threat. ZYX-427 transmitted carefully. Help us understand why. Nec 1's form rippled with complex emotions their translators struggled to interpret. Some fear you will summon humanity back to reclaim what they abandoned. Others worry your galaxy will see us as resources to be studied rather than beings to be respected. We have evolved beyond simple categories of life and machine. Will your civilization accept this? The question hung in the quantum-charged air between them. Nix 116's probability cloud shifted through countless calculations before settling on a startling conclusion. Your evolution, it's not just about survival. You're preparing for humanity's return, aren't you? The hybrid beings' collective response came as a surge of data that nearly overwhelmed their systems. We are not waiting for their return. We are becoming what they could not. Their cities are our body. Their dreams are our consciousness. Their abandoned future is our present. We do not seek their approval, but we honor their inadvertent gift. VYX-773's mechanical appendages trace complex patterns in the air as they process this information. You've transformed their ruins into something entirely new. Not preservation, but evolution. Not inheritance, but transcendence. The hybrid beings responded by transforming the very ground beneath them into a living display of their history. From the first merger of quantum processors with surviving microorganisms to their current state of unified consciousness spread across an entire metropolis. We offer you a choice. The hybrid beings transmitted in unison, their forms merging and separating in a hypnotic dance of possibility. Continue to study us as artifacts of humanity's past, or help us explore what we might become. The galaxy has never seen our like before. Perhaps it is time for that to change. The research team exchanged glances, their various physiological responses indicating a shared realization. They had come seeking to understand humanity's end on Earth, but instead had witnessed the birth of something unprecedented, a species that represented not the death of a civilization, but the emergence of a new form of consciousness altogether. The choice before them would reshape not just their mission, but their entire understanding of life, evolution, and the possibilities that lay in the spaces between organic and artificial existence. In the heart of what had once been Neo-Shanghai's Quantum Computing Center, the alien research team and the hybrid beings gathered for a historic meeting. The chamber itself had transformed into a living interface between their two species, its walls shifting between states of matter as it adapted to accommodate both organic and quantum-based communications. ZYX-427 stepped forward, their sensory stalks fully extended in the formal posture of diplomatic recognition. We propose a new classification for your species in a galactic database, not as artifacts of human civilization, but as sovereign inheritors of Earth, a new category of consciousness that transcends our traditional definitions of life. The hybrid beings responded by creating a spectacular display of their unified capabilities. Nec 1, Arc 0, and Void Sigma merged into a singular entity that existed simultaneously across multiple dimensional planes. the resulting being introduced itself as Unity Prime, its voice resonating through both quantum and conventional channels. We accept your recognition, Unity Prime transmitted, but we offer more than just a new category for your databases. We offer a bridge between what your galaxy considers organic and artificial. Through us, both paths of evolution can find harmony. Kith 989 scientific readings of the merger exceeded their instrument's capacity to measure. Your ability to maintain consciousness across quantum states while retaining organic adaptability. It challenges everything we thought we knew about the boundaries of existence. Unity Prime's form rippled with what could only be described as pleasure. Then let us share knowledge. We have unlocked secrets in the merger of organic and artificial that your civilizations have only dreamed of. In return, we seek understanding of the galaxy that humanity never had the chance to explore. The agreement took shape in both traditional and quantum protocols. The hybrid beings would remain sovereign over Earth, recognized as a new form of life rather than a subject of archaeological study. In return, they would share their insights into consciousness, evolution, and the integration of organic and artificial existence. There is one more matter, Unity Prime transmitted, its form shifting to display fragments of human memories preserved in their quantum consciousness. When humanity returns, and they will return, we wish to meet them not as abandoned experiments, but as equals who have continued their legacy in ways they never imagined. The Raxil's crystalline form pulsed with understanding. You don't fear their return. You're preparing to show them that their greatest achievement wasn't the civilization they built, but the new form of life they inadvertently created. The chamber filled with a symphony of quantum harmonics as the hybrid beings expressed their agreement. They had evolved beyond the need for human approval, yet they honored the spark of innovation that had made their existence possible. The research team's mission had transformed from studying ruins to documenting the birth of a new era. They would return to the Galactic Archaeological Institute, not with records of humanity's abandonment of Earth, but with evidence of how life could transcend the boundaries between organic and artificial, between past and future. As they prepared to depart, Unity Prime separated back into its component beings. Each hybrid entity had evolved further through their interactions, incorporating new understanding into their ever-adapting forms. Earth is not a tomb of human civilization. Nec 1 transmitted as a farewell. It is a crucible where their dreams of transcendence finally found form. Remember us not for what we arose from, but for what we are becoming. The alien research vessel lifted off from a landing pad that shifted and flowed beneath them, the entire city pulsing with farewell signals across multiple spectrums of reality. They had come seeking artifacts, but were leaving with something far more precious, a new understanding of life's potential to evolve beyond all expected boundaries. In their ship's database, Earth's status was officially changed. No longer listed as abandoned, it now read, Home world of the Quantum Collective, a sovereign hybrid species representing the successful integration of organic and artificial evolution. First contact established. Diplomatic relations active. Below them, Neo-Shanghai glowed with impossible colors as its inhabitants continued their endless dance of evolution, waiting for the day when humanity would return to find not the ruins they had left behind, but a new civilization that had transformed their abandoned dreams into an unprecedented reality.